Did you know that these countries owe more than they produce? Do you have any idea which countries are drowning in debt to the rest of the world? Did you know that there are nations where the amount they owe is more than twice what they produce? In today's video, you will find out who the biggest debtors on the planet are, why this external debt is so worrying, and how it directly affects the future of billions of people. Stay until the end, because we will reveal the behind the scenes of a negotiation that involved billions of dollars in exchange for entire hospitals. And believe me, you won't want to miss it. External debt is basically everything that a country owes to institutions and investors outside its territory. We are talking about loans taken out by governments, banks, and companies from international creditors, whether they are public or private entities. In many cases, this debt is used as a growth tool, to finance projects, reinforce cash flow in crises, or guarantee economic stability. However, like any tool, if misused, it turns against the country itself. Poorly managed debts become a heavy burden, blocking domestic investment, slowing down development, and plunging entire populations into prolonged cycles of economic sacrifice. In 2025, estimates indicate that Japan will continue to be the country with the highest proportion of public debt in relation to its gross domestic product, approximately 254%. There have been decades of slow growth, an aging population, and high public spending. Even Singapore, which appears among the top countries, maintains its debt strategically, investing in strengthening the domestic financial market. Other countries such as Eritrea, Greece, and Italy are facing more delicate realities. Eritrea has debts exceeding 200% of its GDP, a reflection of armed conflicts and political isolation. Greece is still feeling the impacts of the 2008 crisis, while Italy is experiencing low growth and high spending, making it difficult to control its debt. But the two superpowers that really carry the largest part of the world's debt, in gross volume, are the United States and China. Together, these nations account for almost half of all global debt. The U.S. accounts for about 34% of the total, while China accounts for around 15%. In absolute numbers, no other economy comes close. When looking at maps and infographics on the subject, we see that developed countries continue to top the rankings for external debt. But the scenario changes radically when we compare the debt with the real economic capacity of these nations. Countries such as Djibouti, Angola, and Laos, for example, are among the most pressured. In these regions, the amount owed abroad far exceeds gross national income, which makes payments simply unfeasible. Instead of growth, these countries end up trapped in a cycle of renegotiations, high interest rates, and dependence on international aid. And the problem is worse in low-income nations. In 2023, they accumulated a record external debt, $11.4 trillion. This represents practically 99% of everything these countries manage to collect from exports. For many, up to 20% of the annual budget goes directly to paying interest and amortizations, amounts that could be invested in health, education, or basic infrastructure. Faced with this alarming scenario, international institutions such as the G20, the UN, and the World Bank have been trying to alleviate the debt burden on the most fragile countries. Among the most recent actions are programs of temporary suspension of payments and agreements to convert debt into social investments. One of the most symbolic examples came from Mauritania, where part of the external debt was exchanged for direct financing for hospitals and infrastructure projects. These agreements are a way of transforming liabilities into actions that truly benefit the local population. But the challenges remain many. International agencies warn of a possible increase in defaults in the coming years, especially among emerging countries. Therefore, more than ever, it is essential that governments strengthen their fiscal governance, adopt transparent policies, and make efficient use of resources raised abroad. External debt, if used well, can boost an economy. But when uncontrolled, it becomes an almost insurmountable barrier to development. The balance is delicate and essential. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You now understand what few know, that foreign debt is not just an accounting issue, but a direct reflection of each country's political and economic choices. And to thank you, here's a bonus. In the first pinned comment, you'll find a link to download an exclusive infographic with the most indebted countries in the world and their debt-to-GDP ratios. Download it for free and share this knowledge. Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and we'll see you in the next video with more analysis that matters. See you then.